a visibly and noticeably nervous, frantic Donald Trump Jr. Interviewed failed gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. And it was a strange interview, I gotta tell you. So there's a lot of clips I want to go through from this, starting just kind of with a little bit before he introduces the interview. And you can already pick up on just this strange interview exuding from Donald Trump Jr. And then you'll see him introduce Kari Lake. We'll watch a little bit of the beginning and then continue forward with more clips. Strange interview.
Owning tangible physical inflation hedging gold and silver can help diversify your portfolio. Guys, precious metals are important. What's going on right now is a disaster waiting to happen. So diversify and protect your retirement savings. Support companies who hate you. Can't read today. Support companies who love you instead of those who hate you.
And listen, I'm not even making fun of the talking mess ups, because let me tell you, as someone who does a show and doesn't have a script and kind of is very not unfamiliar with the slip ups as far as speech goes, I'm not making fun of that, but it starts to give you a sense of the energy that's kind of simmering in Donald Trump Jr. during this interview.
And go to donjrgold.com to learn a little bit more. Go to donjrgold.com, learn a little bit more. The people at Goldco will take care of you. They'll teach you all you need to know about it. And so, guys, again, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you all for watching. And everyone, we've got a great treat for you. The wonderful Kari Lake will be joining us right now. I think you're going to love it. Check it out, and you have a lot to learn and a lot to talk about. You guys are the best. So guys, I'm here with the one and only Kari Lake. Incredible, someone who's become a friend, I think an incredible candidate, a great representative of the MAGA movement, someone who came in from the outside and the media. I think this is going to be exciting. We're talking about how my studio is literally set up in my gym, and my lazy ass probably needs to hit the gym a little bit more than the studio, but just a lot of stakes in the fire, as I'm sure you've had. So you guys are going to have a lot of fun tonight. This is going to be a good one.
I honestly think he's starstruck. I think Kari Lake within the hardcore election denier MAGA crew is just, I don't know, the Taylor Swift of MAGA, and he's starstruck. And
we're just really excited to talk to you.
I'm excited. And well, you have an excuse not to use the workout equipment. You can't get to it anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, it's a little, yes, this is a little bit of a makeshift design, and I will figure it out eventually, but I'm the least organized human being in the world. It's like, I know.
Okay, so a little bumpy getting into it there, but that's okay. And then we get to the next moment. Just take a look at how backwards and distorted this is.
And how do we stop? Because you don't want to get to the point where it feels futile. You want people to, like, on election day, not just, and they want us to take our ball,
that's exactly
to cry
what they
and
want.
Go home. That's what they're trying to do.
And
this is a disenfranchisement, like a scale we've never seen before. They want you just to accept the rubber stamp talking points and move on. And I can understand why that's appealing when you see that they won't even look at the evidence or acknowledge it, and more importantly, not deny that it's false. It's one thing if they say, no, it's false for all these 15 reasons, but when they're like... By
the way, there were so many situations where he would interrupt to Kari Lake and just not let her talk for so long, and he would just talk, which it's important in interview settings. Not that I, care that much. I don't have any stake in this particular interview situation, but just kind of as far as interviews go, you want the person who's getting interviewed to have a chance to actually talk and not be interrupted. But Kari Lake also is actively trying to break down democracy, so interrupt her. Fine by me.
It's probably good, but it doesn't matter.
The takeaway from this, and I try to talk about this wherever I go, this isn't just about this election. I mean, they did it in 2020, they did it in 22. Yeah. They want us so
it's not just about Arizona.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
They want us so disillusioned that we go, forget it, I'm not even voting anymore. Yeah. I'm not going to show up for the political meetings anymore because it's a futile effort. No, that we can't, we have to show up. Even though it's a terrible rigged system, we got to keep showing up. And the bigger we show up, the harder it is from the cheat.
We have to overwhelm it.
So what they're saying here, and what's so backwards about this, is the elections are being stolen, which they're not. And because they're being stolen, the goal of the Democrats, which again, they're not, is to get people to be so disillusioned, so discouraged that they don't even go out to vote because all the elections will just be stolen anyways. But no, you with your lies are convincing people to be disillusioned. You're the one convincing people the elections are being stolen without evidence and causing them not to believe in our democratic process and causing them not, in some cases, to be as motivated to participate in our political process because you're lying to them. You're telling them the election system's broken in such a serious way that elections are just being stolen. And that's going to make people believe that voting isn't worth it, even though all of the things you're telling them are based on a foundation of lies, which is so upsetting to watch. And I personally, even with someone who's going to vote differently than me, want people to buy into our democratic process, and they're breaking that down so severely in so many different ways. And then take a look at this, just them describing their perception, their incorrect and distorted perception of the left, meaning the political left.
We know that we have the ideas that people want. We know that we have common sense solutions. We know that the general population is fed up with how far the left has gone. They're not even Democrats, and so they're
There's
communists.
no pretense of like decency even
No
at this
one's
point. I
for
look at
that.
the trans stuff and the surgeries and trying to cut parents out of the equation. I mean,
No
parents
one's for it.
Parents don't want. You can't talk about their kids, and like the notion of like having a mother and a father that care for their children. It's like, oh, it's somehow racist, and these people are fucking insane at this point. Like
They're sick and demented,
Yeah.
and nobody is for that. This is why in our movement.
Okay, before I respond, let me show you another example. Wild. Again, before I respond, here's another example.
As a guy that came from New York City and was sort of surrounded by Democrats my whole life, I used to be able to have like reasonable conversations with these people. But when I watch, like, it's a tenet of their platform now, is this like children should have sex change operations that are permanent and irreversible, and like they're not capable of making these decisions. They're young and can be manipulated, but they want 3-year-olds who, let's just say, wouldn't be able to buy a pack of cigarettes for 15 years to be able to say, this, cut out the parents, do this. And I mean, where is this moving? Every day I read another story about it, and it's, how does it gain this much traction? I mean, it's
Where
like
did
a
it
mafia,
come
right?
from?
You have.
Okay. I mean, how do I even, what do I have to say? It's not true that 3-year-olds are getting sex reassignment surgery. And so this is what's being done. Create a fake person, a straw man to fight against, and then fight against that. Just develop this alternate fake version of the left and then say that's the opposition. That's why you have to come be a right winger. That's why you have to deny elections, because this is happening when it's not. And that's a great example of it. 3-year-olds are having sex reassignment surgery. It's just not happening. And so he's lying. And then you have to ask, why is he lying? Well, because if you can make the left out to be that wild, then the right seems a lot more sane when they're not actually putting forward solutions to improve the lives of Americans. And we saw this very notably after the State of the Union with Biden walking through, while there's plenty of things I wish Biden would have pushed for that he hasn't, or wish he had done that he hasn't. He laid out a lot of accomplishments that are actually going to improve Americans' lives and proposals he wants to push for and try to implement. And the right, when responding to the State of the Union, just didn't address any of those things. Instead, they said, it's just, actually what Biden cares about privately is all the woke's coming for you. And it was the best example of when you don't have a good counterpoint, you have to first change the essence of the point that's being made, right? So you just say, no, what they're actually saying is this, and now I have a good counterpoint, which is so dishonest and shows you how little is being offered by people such as Kari Lake, such as Don Jr., different example because he's not an actual politician, but truly stunning and just strange, weird interview overall, I would say.